Just wanted to do a quick video demo while I've got it set up in the current state of some code changes I've done in the last day. So version 3.1 of GCompris, we've got play chess against Tux, play chess against a friend, and the end games of chess, but there's nothing for the beginner. And I've taken the source code, downloaded it, and modified it to make a prototype beginner of chess. So what you're seeing now is not the default. It's a change that I've done. So I set it up, and if I was going to change it to get it exactly how it would be capture all of the pawns. And that way you could then see about the initial moves and have a bit of time to practice and get things right. So I can see that it can capture off to the side or otherwise move straight past. And the game has been set up so that once all of the pieces bar the king, you then reach success and then go on to the next one. So now we've covered pawns, move on to show how the rook moves and highlighting all the squares for that. And again, once the user clears all of the pieces except the king, then we get the success screen. We've got the same again with the knight. So I had to modify the rules of the code that was already existing. So that way, anytime the white player moved, the person playing the white pieces, that black didn't get to move at all. And made a bit of a change to it. But also, I sort of hotwired the code. I didn't quite get everything exactly as is, so it's not a finished product. It behaves a bit weird if the king isn't on the board, because the code here is still linked to an underlying chess engine. And whenever it does an evaluation of the board to legal moves, to show the green squares for whatever piece we've got, it looks to see where the king is there and whether it's in check, because there's things like if I've got to forcibly move a piece to block the king from being in check, it'll disable all the other ones. So I'll just go through, but the goal of this exercise is to use the nominated pieces to capture all of the non-king pieces. If we've got a chance, we can hide the king and have it going, or alternatively modify the code more so that it doesn't use the chess engine evaluation or care about it. But I didn't want to change it too much. And the final part is the queen, where the player gets practice of moving that piece around and seeing they can move like a rook and a bishop. And there's no penalty if you move a piece where it can be captured by one of the enemy pieces. They've seen other chess tutorials where it will capture the piece, and that way you have to do a bit of extra playing. But I just wanted something to throw it out there and then open it up to the application maintainers and development team to see what sort of what they wanted as an introduction to chess module. So for an example of with the king, because the pawn captures there and there's only one piece that's available, but if it starts behaving a bit weird. So once I can't do that and it doesn't let me continue on, I've reached the point where I said I've got it looking enough like a demo to just leave it and see about working around it. And there might be other ways to achieve the goal, or whether we just say to give the text display to the user or not. I did make something else that we'll probably see in tonight's stream, where the end games of chess was effectively copied to introduction to chess, and that way then the user would get, say, there's a king, one line of pawns, and then the player gets 3 lines of pawns. So that way they can make a few mistakes and get things captured while they're learning, making the moves, and that one before moving on to the standard game rules. And then there's a few other things where board setups, like you've got to use the knight to jump across and then capture the queen. So I just wanted to put a video about the idea, and hopefully it gets taken up by the developers.